Saturday mornings, you'll be doing an open home. Walking down the street, there's syringes in poles and there's people passed out on the floor.
If I ever gonna sell, I only gonna work with Angelo. Angelo Bouras. 20 years in real estate.
127 different agents in my postcode.
Such a competitive marketplace like Potts Point and Elizabeth Bay.
Top 5 in the network out of 300 sales agents. 2 years, I've been first.
Wow.
Don't pussyfoot around it. Everyone wants to sell in this bloody suburb.
What was the click in your mind that you said, all right, now I'm going to stay focused?
It's not just a deal, so to speak. It's people's livelihoods. Knowledge has definitely turned into power. I'm not in it to just burn the relationship and get the deal done. It was different to what it is now, man. They got the apps, they got everything. I was sitting there getting cash as rent, knocking on people's doors. The butterfly effect of work, man, it just never died.
Angelo Bouras.
How are you, my man?
Mate, thank you very much for coming in.
Appreciate you thinking of me, man. Thanks so much.
20 years in real estate, is that right?
I know, man. I know. People tell me I look 20 years old right now, but
you do.
20 years, man. You gotta love it. It's been a love game mainly, anyway. So not a love hate.
20 years and successful. I'm going through a bit of your CV, which is kind of like wow. And I know the area pretty not as good as you do after 20 years, but I was shocking. So you've been the agent of the year in Potts Point, Elizabeth Bay since 2019.
That's the one, man. Yeah.
And in the last 2 years, you've been the number one. You've been in the top 5 for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah. In the network, I've been top 5 in the network, out of 300 sales agents, and the last 2 years, I've been first.
And the reason I really wanted to speak with you is because I spoke with fewer people who want to buy or sell the property in the pocket. I didn't even mention you or suggested you. They say, if I ever gonna sell, I only gonna work with Angelo.
Hard to create that, man. You know that. I mean, maybe they met with me and we gave them a good experience. I think there'll probably be 9 out of 10 that say that, and there might be one who say he's a dud, but most of them are pretty good. Yeah.
No, and it's impressive to build the level of trust. Like these people, they would if they ever think about selling, they only think about you. And I was impressed because not just one person, more than one person that live in the area, they say, if I ever gonna sell, I'm gonna work with Angelo.
It's a neighborhood, man. So everyone's talking. You walk down the street and, that person speaks to that person. They go to that gym. So it's definitely a community of people. So if you're good to one person, they'll say it to everybody else. But I have been there a long time, and it's mainly driven by I'm not in it to just burn the relationship and get the deal done.
Yeah.
There's a longevity game in this. They're going to buy this and they're going to upgrade to that, or their daughter's going to buy from me eventually. And next thing you know, it's the whole family and friends. So you just got to do what's actually best for the client. You know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You sometimes got to guide them and say, look, I know I'm actually selling this place. I actually don't think this is for you.
Yeah.
But my competitor's got one that's actually got the window that faces the tree. Go for that one because this one faces the brick wall and the capital growth there will be better. But then I'll say, well, my yield is better, but you make the call yourself, But in the end of the day, it's being genuine to the client, man. Tell them actually what's best for them.
Like advise them.
Man, that's it. Otherwise it just comes around, and I've seen agents, and you've seen it, come and go because they're just trying to burn and get the commission and onto the next one. And eventually the client goes, this actually wasn't great advice.
Yeah.
It wasn't sound. And how many people I sell for now are people that I helped them buy another agent's property and now I'm representing them.
Yeah. It's so powerful in such a competitive marketplace like Potts Point and Elizabeth Bay. And this is now something that I would love to pick up from you or for other people, other real estate, or people want to get into the industry. I know it probably takes years to build a level of trust and love from the community. So what's your tip? You already mentioned don't think short-term commission, think long-term benefit. So what would you say a part of giving genuine advice would be to build that level of trust and love? Because these people, they literally told me, if I'm going to sell, I'm only going to work with Angelo.
Yeah. Make sure they call me, yeah? And if they do, I'll sort you out. Look, man, you talk about competition. This is the truth. In the last 12 months, or rolling 12 months, actual agents, there's been 127 different agents sell in my postcode, which is Potts Point, Elizabeth Bay, Rushcutters Bay, Woolloomooloo. 127. Now, you can go out to other suburbs. You'll be lucky to get 50, maybe 30.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to sell in this bloody suburb. You know, everyone wants to have a piece of it. And it is very competitive. But when you get to the stage where, like any market, you know, you're going to say, oh, I want to buy something in Paddington, I'm going to call the following agent because you know who has the market share. It is a very competitive market. But when I look at who my competitors are, I've probably got 2 or 3, and that's it. And it's always us 2 or 3 that are coming up against each other. But generally, I'm not fighting for the business. I'm generally walking in and have a, you know, either a pre-existing relationship or know somebody. But how is it built and how is it kind of done? I wish I could tell you it was quick and easy, man. Look, I've seen agents come into the marketplace and buy market share. What I mean by that is basically, you know, come in with really low commission that seems so attractive, and they're going to go with them because they're with a brand that they know and the commission seems so good. But they burn out. There's no foundations for anything. The real kind of strength that I've had has been my knowledge in the marketplace. So you call me and you go, Angelo, I've got a client, $3 million. They want a, 100 square meters and a north aspect. And I'll go, man, this building, the O1s and the O3s, they're the ones to go for. Maybe not the O3s because they're outside the price point. So the thing is, I think that knowledge has definitely turned into power because I walk in and I just say, this is what you're up against, or this is how it is. And coming up against anyone that might just be talking a lot of fluff, but first of all, you can't argue with the runs on the board, but that's easy to do now because I've got them. But as a young bloke going in, I used to go to other open homes. I used to be obsessed with it. Like I actually enjoyed it. So I'd walk into other agents' opens just to see what that apartment felt like, compare it to some properties in my own portfolio. And you end up realizing that that's a powerful negotiating tool as well, because when the buyer goes, oh, I really wanted this one, I'll be like, yeah, but have you opened up the window in the bedroom there to see what the noise is like? And I don't even need to go into it too much because I know all the footprints. There's literally hundreds of buildings in my suburbs and I've walked into all of them and I've walked into most layouts. So definitely knowledge, man. You got to learn your patch. You got to learn your patch.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Beautiful. I love that. So local market knowledge. Now let's go back. Like, you born and bred in Sydney?
Man, I was born and bred in Bankstown.
Oh, like my girlfriend.
Not many people know where that is, man. So I'm from the western suburbs, actually.
Yeah.
I grew up born in Bankstown, moved to Condell Park.
Yeah.
From Condell Park, I moved to Greenacre. We moved out of Greenacre because there was bikie shootings. So the families that were getting out of here before one of us gets shot. And we moved from there to Dulwich Hill in Marrickville, where we spent a few years. And then that was my first stint at the back end of kind of high school when I first started doing private schooling. Prior to that, it was all public school. And then from there, we moved to Sans Souci. And from Sans Souci, I moved to Redfern. And now recently I bought a house in Rosebery.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I got around. But I've always been very committed to the cross.
Yeah. How long have you been operating just in Potts Point, Elizabeth Bay?
I left school with absolutely no plans, like most people that I was hanging out with. I got into real estate because when I left school, don't know if you remember Hot Fours. I don't know if you remember Auto Salon. There used to be these things where you do up cars and you put them in a competition and who's got the best paint job or the best stereo system.
Yeah.
I did that for 6 months
I
and
love this story.
I ran out of money real fast. I talk about awards. This is probably my proudest award. I had the loudest stereo system in New South Wales back in 2002.
Yeah.
I've got the awards at home still. It was the loudest stereo system. And, I realized I was competing against, I was 18 at the time and I was competing against a lot of people who had too much money. Anyway, long story short, ran out of money. And the only person who would employ me was a guy from school. His father's mate owned a real estate office in Elizabeth Bay at the time, which used to be called PRD Nationwide.
Yes.
Not many people know that name nowadays. They're more in the area, rural areas.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did do a stint actually just prior to that, a little bit in Longdeville, Lane Cove, which I was, a letterbox dropper and a file cabinet organizer and all of that, and didn't last there long at all. And also the area, I didn't connect with it. Anyway, obviously King's Cross, 19-year-old, just was like, man, what do you not have from this place? What can you not? What itch does it not scratch, sort of thing? And basically started off there at the bottom of the barrel, like you do, letterbox dropping, office management. But I worked for a small company. It was a family-run company. It was me, the boss's son, the boss, and then one sales guy.
That's in King's Cross.
That was in Elizabeth Bay Road, 27 Elizabeth Bay Road, and PRD Nationwide. And within a few years, I helped the company rebrand into what they were called Eastern Network Realty, which now they've sold that company off to another firm. Anyway, long story short, by 2007, I had to become a licensed real estate agent. So my boss could go on 3-month holidays to Europe and I had to run the company after only being in there for a few years. And it was different to what it is now, man. The property managers, they got everything, man. They got the apps. They got everything. I was sitting there getting cash as rent, knocking on people's doors, handwritten everything, taking photos for condition reports and getting the photos printed up at, the local.
Into rental.
Yeah, for rental. Yeah. So I did. Yeah. So I did 8 years of rentals.
Yeah.
I think that was too long. But I got a taste of sales.
Yeah.
I had an owner who loved me, who back then was a big time for Moe Hennessy, which ended up getting bought out by LVMH.
Yeah.
And said to me, Angelo, there's no one else I'm going to sell my property through. And anyway, that was my first sale. Sold this property in Elizabeth Bay in 2009, I think it was.
Wow.
And then I didn't sell anything again for like a couple of years. And I had a taste of it, and then I realized I wanted out. And I said to the boss, I go, look, man, I want to do sales. And he was like, there's no space for you here to do that. So I just kind of kept my options open. I then had another landlord come to me, Lee Lin Chin, who was a big SBS newsreader at the time.
Yeah.
Another one said, Angela, I got to sell with you. Sold her place, killed it. And you start to realize that you've got this butterfly feeling, which still today I get when I'm listing and selling things.
Yeah.
I had offers left, right, and center from, you're a young property manager, associate this, associate that.
Yeah.
But I was starstruck by one agent in my marketplace, and, the sun shined out of his where, and I had to work there. But, there was no space. And the way the stars align, I was in the street, he saw me, and I said, man, I love what you do. Can I try to, do something? He goes, yeah, let's meet up on Monday at 7:00. I never got out of bed before 9:00 because I was basically running my own business for this other guy. Met with him and he said, yeah, I need you to start in 2 weeks. But the problem was I worked for a company and that guy was overseas and it was the hardest decision of my life. I had to leave that company within 2 weeks and leave for the company where I work now. And now here I am 11, nearly 12 years later and I haven't left there.
Wow.
And that guy was Jason Boone, who I was talking about anyway.
Oh, Jason. Yeah.
So That's the nutshell how it happened. It's
Wow.
kind of short, not short version.
How was King's Cross 19 years ago? Because I've seen the evolution of the pocket for the last 10 to 15 years. I actually work at the hotel, Mercure Hotel, there now.
Yeah, it's Omnia Apartments. Yeah.
What's the changes that you've seen? Tell me how was King's Cross 19 years ago? You are a young guy. By the way, you're still full of energy right now. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How was it, and what's the changes you've seen in the last 10, 15 years?
Well, I mean, besides the fact that I used to go out on a Friday night in the Cross and then go straight from going out to my open homes on a Saturday morning, that I used to do that because you could do that. So, look, I mean, some of the most obvious differences was, Saturday mornings you'll be doing an open home and, walking down the street, there's syringes in poles and there's people passed out on the floor.
Wow.
It's not that anymore.
No.
There was, that sort of, you don't walk down the strip, the Golden Mile. You don't walk down that. It's rough. It's, now it's coffee shops and sushi and, places to be seen.
Yeah.
The people have changed, but it's funny. The core people are still there. And I mean, I'm not there as long as some others, but I know the heads from when I was clubbing back in the day and doing rentals that are still there, and we're still having a laugh because now they're business owners and I'm helping them buy property so they can run their nightclub and get on the committee in the building so they can control the noise complaints. The old people are still there, but the biggest thing is, the clubs are now gyms. There's coffee shops everywhere. There's amazing food. Obviously, I don't know what's amazing about it now.
Well.
It's the best. But like from 19 years ago, I think it's definitely people's attitude towards the area.
Yeah.
Hats off to say Toga, the developers. They were one of the first ones to kind of, put their money where their mouth is and redeveloped Hampton when, there was a big, king hit, one punch sort of thing and redeveloped an apartment block right in the middle of everything. And that's still the middle of everything. And it's going really well. And people had to change their mentality around the Cross and, rough and you're not going to go there. And it's kind of a little bit depressing that we've lost that kind of, that grit sort of stuff. It's still there a little bit, but, the characters, some of them are there, but not so much. Yeah. But that's what makes the area what it is, People say to me, is this a noisy street? I'm like, the whole area is noisy. If you want, put double glazing or buy something worth $15 million on level 19 facing west so you can't hear the road. But otherwise, that's the area. But people have come around to it now. People love it for what it actually is. And I love that because you've got anywhere from 18 to 80-year-olds who are like, love it. I had an 80-year-old literally busted her the other day having cocktails at 9:00 at night. And she's got her little walking thing there, She's like, come on. I was like, oh my God. So, yeah.
I love the crowd in that pocket.
Yeah.
They're so
interesting characters, man. The best. That's what keeps it interesting for me, man.
I agree. Okay, so you've done few deals now. You are a young guy. You are in King's Cross, Potts Point, and now you got to the point where, all right, I can sell. Now I want to move from something that can do the job to someone good. Mm-hmm. What's the steps you had to take for you to become like, okay, now I want to make this as a career. I want to go hard. I want to make as many deals as possible. What was the click in your mind that you said, all right, now I'm going to stay focused. I'm not going to party every day. I'm going to party once a week. What have you done? What got you from good to great?
I'm a very competitive person, whether it's, playing paddle, which I'm into at the moment, or seeing the guy at the gym lifting whatever dumbbells and I can't do it, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm very competitive and that's definitely been a big driving thing for me.
Yeah.
But you quickly realize that you're not dealing, it's not just a deal, so to speak. It's people's livelihoods. It's a big call. Like, I'm doing things that are changing people's lives. And I know it sounds so stupid because my wife's a doctor and she's saving lives. But literally, man, you're buying things for clients and you're saving them hundreds of thousands. Yeah. That means they can go on holidays, they can buy the car, they can do a reno. You've changed their life, man.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with me. Some results, we blow them out of the park and they're forever indebted to you. When you realize that what you're doing is making a massive difference and these people are coming to you because you're the trusted advisor. You're that guy. You know, if I'm going to be buying shares in whatever, I'm going to go to the experienced person who does that all day. Like, you know, I'm going to want to buy a home from you guys, renovate. I'm going to come and see you guys because you guys do it all day.
Yeah.
So realize that what you're doing is actually super important. I got a lot out of my system. I partied so hard to the point that I've had partied everywhere across the world, and it became a bit the same. And it wasn't that buzz anymore for me partying. You know, if anything, it ruined my work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and by Thursday I've come good again. And then next thing you know, Saturday, you know, you're burning your brain cells.
Yeah.
So it was literally about what was driving me, and the butterfly effect of work, man, it just never died. And I was always feeling a rush with what I did.
Yeah.
I don't know, if you don't have the rush, man, well, then you might have a problem.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing for me was I got stuck being the studio king. That's not a good name to have. It's better than the car space king, but the studio king means that you only sell studios.
Yeah.
And for years, my average sale price was $400,000-$500,000. You know, and it took a long time to get out of that. But what happened was people realized quite quickly that my commitment even to selling a $500,000 studio was very, very strong. And what I basically focused on from that switch that you mentioned was you get the call up. There are people out there who just turn around and go, this bloke's energy. You know what? Someone said something about him, and you get called into your first thing that's worth $1.1 million. And it's like, wow, this is double what I normally do.
Yeah.
So they trust you, they believe in you, and man, you give 100% and you actually go, all right, everything about it. I want to know everything about this property, the history. Was Abe Saffron in here? What are the last few sales, square meter rates, everything? And then you become so knowledgeable about it that you knock that out of the park, and then that just keeps happening, and it goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
But you got to leave the parties behind. You got to celebrate at the right times when you know your clients aren't really looking for you.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you've got to take advantage of the big opportunities when they come and be fully serious about it, man, because you know, so many agents, man. How many do you see, man? They just they don't take it serious, man.
No.
They don't take it serious. Oh yeah, whatever, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
Man, like, you know,
big responsibility, 100%.
Yeah.
Like the people have their own all their saving into the properties.
Yeah, I know.
And I agree. I think what people are tired of is people not committed to the job. And yes, I believe there is a small, not a huge barrier of entry into the industry. Just get a license, you're good.
Get it out of the Kellogg's box.
But the few are the one they actually excel into the industry.
Well, you know what it's like, man. It's like what you guys do. There's so many buyers agents.
Oh, yeah.
But there's the top few that run the show, and it's the same with us, man. It's the same.
Nice. Is that correct to say that the natural evolution to moving from selling a small studio, one bedroom to waterfront penthouse is the normal evolution to get there? Or there is something particularly that you've done to actually move from 600K purchase price to the 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 50 million purchase price?
I was, the short answer is, there's a lot of background stuff. I'm very big in my community in the sense of about the community.
Yeah.
I'm all about local.
Yeah.
I give settlement gifts to clients who, you know, purchase or sell properties, and they get a book from a local artist, a local author who does, you know, and it's about local, you know, local property. I give vouchers to, you know, the local eateries, you know, so they get to experience King's Cross. They go to an underground cocktail bar, then I'll send them to the best breakfast place, then I'll send them to the funky back lane way where there's a brothel, a strip club, and then next thing you know, you're having dinner at this amazing restaurant right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Very big on community, but I've basically really focused on being a local area expert. I mean, you know, my patch, but I'm now selling in Darlinghurst and Barangaroo and Darling Point. But the big thing was nurturing those clients who have got those big ticket items, because what do you know, man? They hang out in circles of people who also have big ticket items.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a client right now who, he'll know I'm talking about him. He's supported me a lot of the way through it. He lives in, a sub penthouse up in Maclay Street.
Yeah.
And, he really hit it on the head. We don't have a lot of time, so text me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, trust.
Yeah.
Just trust.
Yeah.
What we do, we are meant to be the least trustworthy people in the world.
Yeah.
But when you do actually trust them and you're doing the best thing for them, mate, no agent's going to come in and bake that bond. They say, there's no loyalty in real estate and all this stuff. Mate, I've got clients that are no matter what, they'll be there.
I know as a fact.
Yeah.
I called them.
Yeah,
They
I
told
know.
me I'm not going to.
But that's because I tell them the truth and I trust them and their secrets and their everything. And that's it, man. You get called into the $5 million property that you've never done before. And I'm shocked that you're calling me. Yeah, because so-and-so and so-and-so said to use you.
Nice.
And I said, well, this is what I'd do. And they go, okay.
Nurture.
So trust.
Nice. The way you nurture, SMS, phone calls, task, or whatever you remember.
You ready for this? I can guarantee you, which absolutely is not going to help me right now. I don't make nowhere near the amount of calls that any of my competitors make, and my touch points are horrendous. I'm rarely touching with my clients that, you bought a property through me. I hate to say it, they don't hear from me that often. They really don't. That's a poor thing on my end. They need to, but I'll probably see them in the street and I'll stop and have a chat with them. Yeah. They'll get my newsletter, which is I found is a very powerful newsletter, which goes out to a few thousand people, but it's all area focused. They'll feel like they know me off my social media because they're watching me on there and all of that. But there's no regular points of contact. It's more about being in their face regularly, which happens through all my advertising mediums. Like I said, newsletter, Instagram, letterbox droppings, constant sales and, being on the portals and doing this sort of stuff. Yeah. So, that's what it is.
Nice. And I believe in all of these years, you've developed, we can call it powerful schedule. Wake up at this time, I do my workout, then I start to do my calls here, I do door knocking. Can you give us a little bit your day-to-day schedule?
I'm the most unorganized person ever.
Really?
No, man. I've basically been diagnosed with ADD. I'm all over the shop, but you know what? It's my strength at the same time because when I'm on, I'm laser focused. Yeah. Like my performance coach said, I'm like a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes.
Who's your performance coach?
Her name's Grace Gideon. She's a lady out in Balmain. She's really changed my career in the last couple of years.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, mate, I was all over the place. And she really steered the ship and, pulled my head in and said, mate, your ego's out of control. You got to do this. You got to do that. Look, my schedule now is, it has to be tight. I got a team. I got my team to run me. Yeah. And I basically open my diary and, there's my day, so to speak. It's not as crazy as you would think. Some days are loose. I've got a family. So I've got
two kids.
I've got 2 kids. I got a 5-year-old. My daughter starts school next week. My son, Mini-Me's little punny. She's 3 years old. He's at daycare. So, I've got a tag with my wife based on our diaries. I want her to have a good life. So she wants to go to the gym. I want to go to the gym. We want to do things. So, I'll know my Monday is gym at 5:30 a.m., but then on a Wednesday, gym will be at 8:30 a.m. just based on daycare drop-offs and, working it around, home and family. But, it was literally a couple of days ago, I was insanely back to back. I think it was on Wednesday or whatever it was. And to give you an idea, open at 10, open at 10:45, buyer appointment at 11:30, buyer appointment at 12, 12:15, appraisal at 12:50, appraisal at 1:30, 2 buyer appointments at 2:15, and then I have 3 hours to catch up on my day. And in between then, all that commute time, I'm walking between appointments and I'm making phone calls. And then Taylor's sending me through the most important stuff on my WhatsApp group that we've got with my team. Yeah. But the diary sets me free, man. I know where I need to be. I'm not running around. It's when I got 2 hours free that I'm like, what am I doing? But we've kind of got what we call ideal weeks, so to speak. We know we have our meetings on Monday mornings. We have our catch-ups, individual catch-ups with staff on Tuesday. Thursdays are open days. vendor callbacks, they'll vary between a Monday, reporting on a Tuesday. So there's a bit of structure and you definitely need it. But, the job happens that all of a sudden you get a call and the agent's like, yeah, all right, we'll take your offer. Perry, let's go.
Yeah.
You got to drop everything.
Yeah.
You got to do that now.
You're going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you mentioned a few things, team, kids. So you got to the point where now, if you want to get to a certain level, you have to build a team, which come up another skill, which is the first one is to become a good real estate agent in a very competitive marketplace, which is hard. Second one, now you need to add the leadership skills, means you need to transfer. What are you doing and need to teach them. So what would you say is the, in a certain way, best way or easier way to make yourself copyable? Because often I see high performer, but they struggle to teach the skill set because you can't really teach your personality or your energy or whatever, What is the tip for someone want to build a team or someone is struggling to build a team?
Yeah, you're right. We're good real estate agents, but sometimes we're not great leaders.
Yeah.
I'm a good leader in the sense like I have the right attitude and direction in the sense for my team, but in terms of management, it's really not my strong suit. Another important lady to me has been Heather. She's a lady that comes from a corporate experience background and came in and basically sat with us and goes, this is all wrong. And getting an outside, first of all, to come and just a professional that comes out and organizes you to watch you. Yeah, you can spend a bit of money to watch, but they're going to see you from the outside and go, you wasted 2 hours on this. You could have done this quicker and all the rest of it. She's created a lot of systems that have created structure for me now that I've got that. But look, my first team was I shared an assistant with a guy in my office because you run out of time, man. You just don't have it. Like you've got to do the compliance, you've got to do this. And, the first person I personally think is always an admin sort of sales support role. You have to grow the balls and do it. There's no simple way of saying it. Don't pussyfoot around it. Just employ someone because you're investing in your future, man. Yeah. And you might go, oh my God, man, 40 grand a year. What do you mean? I'm like, I'm only making like 100, 150. It's like, you're out of control. That 40, like within the 12 months, like you paid for them within 12 months. Like it's just out of control how quickly the growth happens. Wow. Because there's a certain number, as you know, in agents, GCI, how we're all measuring ourselves. It's stupid, but GCI, gross commission, you get to a certain number and you realize you can't break through a threshold anymore unless you have a team. Yeah. But then you also realize that me now, if I'm doing 15 or 17 opens on a Saturday, I can't be at all those properties. Yeah. So you have to grow someone up and you have to teach them your ways. Yeah. There are agents who are, I can do 100 calls a day and I can do 50 connects and oh my God, I'm going into 10 appraisals. Yeah, cool. And you go into 10 and you're a dud and you get 1 because you don't have the personality. Yeah. You just got to find that person that's got a bit of personality. Like I'm currently shopping for somebody to fill a role and the CVs that are coming through, there's not a lot of greatness, but then, it's the ones that I think are a little bit off center that, they're not going to be, polished amazingly, but their ability to talk and, convince someone to do something is amazing. Yeah. So I think building the right team is essential. Yeah. Having the right people around you that you can say, I know you've been reading that script and dialogue. Just throw the book out, man. Throw that out, okay? And just go, hey, man, how's your day going? What have you looked at? That's a cool property. Yeah, I like that one too. Oh, okay, cool. You're not trying to actually just sell me the thing that I told you I don't like. Yeah, cool. I like that one too. And then next thing you know, they're going to call you and say, well, actually, I'm looking at that one. What do you think? Yeah, I like that one too. Just be a human, man. Just talk to them. Yeah. Tell them like it is. But building the team is essential. And I think the first step is a support staff. Without a doubt. Stuff. Yeah.
If someone listening maybe want to come and work and join your team, I know you mentioned someone can actually talk. What's the key attribute that you're actually looking for? Like good attitude, student mentality.
You know what? The more polished you look, the less your chance of getting the job. Okay?
Really?
You know why? Because we're already unapproachable as it is in our suits and ties and our white teeth. I don't whiten my teeth, by the way. And if you do, something's wrong with you. No, I'm
They look pretty
joking.
white.
That was a stab at someone. Anyway, it's you've just got to be okay. So my marketplace is very different to say Double Bay. Okay, Double Bay, mate, it's a whole nother world down there. You know, tailored this and all the rest of it. You walk and you take my 4 closest competitors. Yes, we look representable. You know, we look okay, but no one's over the top. You know, no one's. It's just, you know, it's trying to be just a normal person. You know, if you're trying to come fill in my team, honestly, I'd rather you tell me everything about your deep, dark history so I know what's made you into what you are today.
Yeah.
Because I've employed the good boy from the North Shore who's never had anything but a white picket fence, and you know, they're sitting there expecting. And then I've also employed the ones who have had the worst and the roughest upbringing, and I love them because they'll listen to you and they're hungry, and some of them you can try to steer and fix, and others got to run their own path. But look, man, I think it's definitely being genuine.
It's so interesting that you say that. We often recruit for new people, and yeah, it's true. Like the one that we're looking for, they are the one. They kind of they hungry. They ask question. They humble. They don't like they're not entitled. Do you know what I mean?
So much entitlement out
like
there.
I know, and actually, that's now lead me to your next question.
Yeah.
Have you noticed in this? In your recruitment process to building a team compared to a few years ago? Have you?
Oh, completely, man. It's such a different thing, man. Before I was taking anyone, before anything was sort of acceptable and a nice smile and you're possibly capable was okay. I had this lovely girl work for me. Was it Melissa? I can't even remember her name. That's horrendous. I had this lovely girl, Alyssa. She still follows me on the gram and she likes my post. She's amazing. She was amazing. And she was someone that I went through, not LinkedIn, Seek.
Yeah.
And I never did it ever again because I put it out on Seek and I got like 86 applications in like however many days.
Yeah.
Anyway, narrowed it all down and I put her on and she was amazing. And some people are going to surprise you and you won't know much about them because it's like speed dating and then you employ them and you don't know.
Yeah.
But now I know what I need. Now I need the hustler to make 100 calls.
Yeah.
Or I need the guy that is so good with clients that I know if I'm not available, he'll answer the call and they'll be just as happy to speak to him because he's 50-something and he's great. My team's a very different looking team to the younger competitors who are all about, I'm 25, so I've got 2 23-year-olds who are smashing the phones. And that's fine, but you know, are you trying to drive a volume business or is it a dollar thing? And for me, I know it works for my marketplace. So I've got a diverse team between the ages of 19 to 65.
Nice. Man, I love that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You have 2 kids.
I do, man. I do.
You became a father and you are a busy man.
Yeah, man.
And you're still the top performer in a competitive marketplace. Plus you're building a team and I'm like, wait a second. Where do you find all of this time? I know you're and you even look good. You look young. Oh my God!
I'm only looking like this because I know.
Come on, tell us
cameras.
a bit of a secret. What do you do? What do you? What cream you? What do you eat?
Creams,
what's your wife?
Man, I eat a lot of shit food to be honest because I love it. It makes me feel good. Man. I'm half Mauritian, which my mother's Mauritian, born in Mauritius. My father's born in Egypt, but he's of Greek descent, so I've got a bit of a mixed heritage there.
Yeah.
I don't sleep as much as I should. I probably get 5 or 6 hours a night because I am man, it's not enough. But I function, man, and I've stopped the stimulants being the caffeine. I'm down to 2 coffees a day.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I was at 6, man, at one point.
That's me right there.
And then you're doing these and then you get this buzz, but then the come down is just heavy.
That's my addiction right there. Coffee.
Yeah, no, you got to find it in food for me. My sustenance and my, way to push through is. I eat pretty much well Monday to Friday and then I'll binge eat on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't like not I don't like drinking, but I don't drink for whatever. I might have a binge session once every 6 or 8 weeks, but it's not like a drink or anything every night.
Yeah.
I don't smoke. I train regularly. Like Monday, I'll train at the gym 3 or 4 times a week. I'll do a boxing class with the boys. I'll play paddle a couple of nights a week with, even one of my competitors. But yeah, so I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old. I've been married for not long, 5 years only, but I've been with her for 17 years. It took me 10 years to propose because I thought I was Casanova and I could, wait. She can wait for me, man. I'm not ready to commit, I'll commit when I'm ready. But like I said, about the whole partying thing, I realized that there's got to be something greater. And for me now, my two biggest things are definitely like every parent, your kids, and work. But I don't spend as much quality time with the kids as I should be, but I've taken Wednesdays off for the last year to spend it with my daughter before she goes to school, and I've done that. We go swimming lessons, we go to the park, and we do stuff, and it's amazing because I hear a lot of family and parents say, I wish I had that time again, I'd do it again, you never get it back.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that, but man, to be honest, how do you have the time? I really don't, man. I have to get more time. I got to get up at 5:30 a.m. Today, I got up for the first time in a few months. I got up at 5 a.m. and I did emails for the first hour. And then I got my kids up and then we went for our coffee and we did all our stuff. I get home, I'll get home maybe 6:30. Yesterday I left at 4:30 to go play tennis, paddle for an hour and a half and go home at 6:30. I'll have dinner with the kids, my wife, and then put them down, and then I'll smash out, half an hour of emails and then spend some time with my wife, Netflixing and doing other things if we have time for it.
Nice.
But you just, man, something's got to give. And my thing that gave was sleep. That's all.
Yeah. Did they change you?
The kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They grounded me. They gave me a bit of a different purpose, but I'm not doing everything for my kids, and my purpose of living is just my kids,
Yeah.
I'm driven by being number one. Such an ego thing, man. My therapist would hate me, but it's true, man. She knows it. We've talked about it. Like, I get up every day because I want to be first. I want to be the go-to. And that combined with the photos that I get to take with my family and, look at them and go, man, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
That's it, man. They're the two things that I'm living for at the moment, man.
Yeah.
And my paddle. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, man, because I promised you 30 minutes.
Man, we got time. Don't worry. Go.
Okay. No, because more you talk, more question I want to ask you. What are you most proud of?
Look, obviously you're proud of your kids because they're beautiful, but they're just a version of you. I've created something as a little kid from Bankstown in the eastern suburbs in one of the most elite pockets in the country.
Yeah.
And I've gone from being a kid in a Bankstown public school to selling penthouses in, Potts Point.
Yeah.
And I still am amazed that I've done that. I'm still looking at it and going, you really, you want to speak to me about selling your place there? Are you sure? Okay, yeah, cool. Wow, man. And I'm proud that I'm that go-to guy for those people, man. Because I've come from a different place, and I want to keep building, man. I think there's more market share to be had. There's bigger properties to be had, and I'm not ready to. I want to take over the world.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
What's the darkest moment of your life?
I mean, look, from a family's perspective, I come from a very dark upbringing. I don't speak to my mum anymore. She's still around, but basically, long story short, custody battles at a young age and, abuse and all these things. So it's a very rough upbringing, but that made me who I am, man. And I love that about me.
Build you.
You know what I mean? And, it's made me this thing that failure is not an option. Believe it or not, man, in my teenage years, I had to go see, a therapist to talk because I wouldn't talk to people because I was so scared and shy of everything.
You were shy.
Mate, shy was an understatement, man. I'd hide behind my dad's leg, even at the age of 14 years old, I wouldn't talk to anybody. There was one year, in primary school, I went to school for 56 days in the year, because, of the issues I was having at home and covered in bruises and wasn't going to school.
Yeah.
So that was the rough part, but look, it made me who I am, and I'm good with it now. I've got it in control, and it's great, and I know how I want to be with my kids and have them have a different upbringing.
Yeah.
But look, from a work perspective, in terms of dark, I mean, I kind of got to think about it. Look, I mean, property management, whatever else. I mean, I used to get rent in cash. I had to put it in a little leather bag and walk up the strip, holding all this, $10,000, and a couple of times, tried to take the bag from me. So we learned to put it in the Wentworth Courier and walk it up instead of just like that. Yeah. But they weren't really dark. I mean, I guess the thing is, for me to have a dark moment, it's got to be for me to have a really upset and devastated client and for have done something.
Yeah.
And I really have always had my clients first in mind. So in terms of dark, I don't know, man. I can't say I've had one, I've had some, things that were really ugly. I've had some things that were, situations, but people pay me to sort it out. I don't want to go, what should I do with this? I'll be like, listen, this is really fucked up. Leave it with me. Let me come back to a solution.
Yeah.
And that's where, I had the sleepless nights, but I'm not going to let my client have them. So, yeah.
No, thanks for sharing that. Wow, that's powerful. Mate, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. All good.
My last one and more for the market, Elizabeth Bay, Potts Point, people want to buy. You've been in this niche, every street, cost per square meters, everything. So where do you see Potts Point, Elizabeth Bay's going? Of course, nobody has the crystal ball.
Yeah.
And for buyers out there who want to buy, okay, what's the tip that would you give them? Or even vendors that say, oh, should I wait interest rate? Should I know what's going on? What's going to happen? So this is today is the 31st of January 2025. Okay.
Woo!
What is the tip for vendor they thinking to sell, but they are like, oh, should I sell or not? Or buyers they want to buy, or maybe they want to wait.
Well, I mean, obviously you're looking to buy something. I mean, you got to call Perry first of all. But
thanks,
I mean,
mate.
but besides that, if you're looking to sell, I'll give you a good rate. Just type in whatever coupon code. No, look, look, man, I hate predicting, man. It gets,
nobody has.
I mean, I hear agents go, oh, look, pick this up for $1 million. I can sell it for 1.2 in a couple of years, easy. Like, I'm just not in that sort of game. But look, I mean, I've sold some properties, and a real quick story is we sold a studio in Elizabeth Bay for $460,000. This was about 15 years ago. And I said to myself, man, that person is not going to make their money back for at least 15 years. 6 years later, we sell it for $715,000. And then I said to myself again, man, that person overpaid massively, but they really wanted it. I then sold it for that person again.
The same property.
3 times now in COVID. And I sold a studio without a balcony, with no aircon, for $970,000.
Wow. Okay.
Each time I never could believe it was going to get that number. So even myself, I get amazed. There are buildings in the area that people have paid $2.2 million for, in 2017, and I'm selling them now for $1.8 million. So there's not great results either.
Right.
But where I see Potts Point going now is we've got a big change happening. There's a lot of buildings that have got studios, 1-bedrooms that have been purchased by developers and being knocked down to knocking down 50 apartments and building 13 luxury apartments.
Yes.
We've got one now, there was a block of 2 bedrooms, and, we've since sold the penthouse for 30 million, sub penthouse for 25, another one for 21. There's a different crowd coming through it, but that crowd means that those other smaller spaces, there's not as many of them.
Yeah.
And those smaller spaces, 23 square meters, 33 square meters, there's people looking for a bolt hole, people looking for investment, people who just don't have more than $550,000 and want a piece of Potts Point. So there's a real mix of buyers. I think they'll continue to hold really well. They took a tumble in COVID. They did really well in 2017, and the prices kind of did a lot of nothing, but they're kind of picking back up now. 2 bedrooms, without parking, decos, a lot of that stuff. I've seen them climb steadily over the last few years from 800 to 900 to 1.2 to 1.4 now. 2 bedrooms in, say, Gazebo, a complex I sell a lot in.
Yeah.
I was originally selling them for 1.3. My clients were buying them for 900.
Yeah.
Selling them for 2 million. But, They were at 2 million, then they went back to 1.85.
Yeah.
And went back down to 1.7.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the trends of the market. You know, man, you're buying it, it's different, selling at different times. But overall, we've got buyers that always want to buy.
Yeah.
So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, to be honest, I mean, I think it's a pretty solid investment, and I think it'll always have a place, and it offers so much to so many different people, man. So like, you know, don't expect though to buy the discount for $500,000 because no one wanted it, you know, and then you think you're going to sell it for more.
Yeah.
There's a reason why no one wanted it, because it's a cave and you can't fix a cave, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
I noticed the number of reviews.
Yeah.
Like, have you passed 500 reviews?
Yeah, man. I got over 500 5-star reviews. I think there's 12 4-star reviews, and that was them personally having a dig at me.
Wait. So 505 reviews out of 505, 12 were 4 stars. The rest were all 5 stars.
5 stars, man. And you know what?
Damn.
None of them, I tell them what to write. I send them the link and I say, look, you know, tell people like it is. Tell them what your experience was. Some are very interesting. Some are short, but they're all 5 stars. You go to Porsche, you go to a nice hotel. It's that service, you know, it's that level of whatever. Everyone forgets, man, we're in the service industry.
You know it's true.
It's a service industry. You're going to go, you're in the middle of, I don't know, Mittagong, and you're like, I'm going to go to a coffee shop. Where am I going to go? Pull out Google, pull it out. There's some reviews, and you go for the one with the best reviews. You know what I mean? It's got to be a reason for it. So, mate, I think reviews are a huge thing in our marketplace, and I pride myself on knowing that I'm hundreds of reviews above my closest competitor. And that's me not even asking, not getting reviews from a lot of clients. Yeah, maybe because some of them weren't over the moon with it. So, but, you know, they just didn't leave one. But, you know, most of them, I mean, all of them are, you know, I'd say 80 to 85% of my clients have left, you know, 5-star reviews. So that combined with, you know, being the number one agent, you know, since 2019 in Potts Point and, you know, Elizabeth Bay for most of that. And then being number one in my agency's brand, which by the way, I work for a brand called Richardson & Wrench, and not a lot of people know it. But if you live in Potts Point, Elizabeth Bay, you're like, oh my God, they're the go-tos. You know, we've been around longer than all of them. You know, we're a brand that not a lot of people give a lot of time for. And I think people, you know, are sucked in. Yeah, man. A lot of people are sucked into the vortex of the yellows and the blacks and the oranges and all the rest of it. When, you know, we've been around for, you know, over 100 years. We got 70 plus offices, and, you know, in some of our marketplaces, man, we're like the go-to, you know.
The thing is the agent. No, it's not. They go for the agent and they have to connect with the brand. I had James Dunn here.
James is good in his marketplace. He's in Double Bay. He's a very competitive marketplace. You know, he knows what it's like. Yeah,
absolutely. And I believe like clients, they come because of you.
Yeah,
I believe
now they do. I had the brand personally to support me in the beginning, which is good. Yeah, now, you know, brand Angelo Bouras is, you know, it's big and it does its thing, but that combined with a reputation of a brand that's trustworthy and solid, it helps, you know.
100%.
Look, I could have been at, you know, bourasbrothers.com. I don't have a brother, but, you know, and yeah, you never know. It might be this or it might be that. But right now the marriage works well, and, you know, the combination means the client goes, well, you know, I'm not the only agent in my office. You know, there's another guy who writes bigger numbers than me, but he's a director, you know, but they know that, well, gosh, they've got the market covered, you know, and they've been doing good things and been around a long time. So, but yeah.
100%. And again, the reason I really wanted to speak with you is because more than one person with Potts Point Elizabeth Bay, they told me, if I ever gonna sell, I'm just gonna work with Angelo.
I'll let you know, man. If they tell me, I'll have to give you 10% or something. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Mate, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Cody.
This is general advice and does not take into account your objectives, situations, or needs. You should consider if this advice is suitable to you and your personal circumstances. Please read any applicable PDS beforehand.